Good morning. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I am broadcasting to you from my home here in Santa Cruz. I'm not at the center today, but we do have some beautiful volunteers who are helping to broadcast this, and so I want to thank them for helping me once again to do my self-quarantine from being out of town last week. I am grateful to have you here with us. What a night we had last night. There were some amazing thunderstorms for most of the early morning, and it broke away to some beautiful sunshine. And so I'm so happy to have you here with us on this sunny day. I want to make you aware of the fact that our beloved Susan Springfield, who has been so much service to us over the last 5 months producing music videos, is taking a break. Most of you who know Susan know that she is an artist, and all artists need to create space so that they can continue to create and continue to do what they do well. So while Susan steps back from video production, which takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, and we're so grateful for that, I want to introduce you to a musician that I've known from when I was back on the East Coast. Her name is LEA, and she's going to do our opening song for you. I hope you enjoy her. She'll be supporting us for the next couple of months. Enjoy.
So, September 11th, 2001, the world didn't change, but our perspective of the world changed. And I went from being a prolific writer who would turn out a song every couple of days to stunned, silent, until that November when I saw my then 2-year-old daughter playing in the grass with one of her little buddies. And I realized why I sing and why we can and must continue to believe in a world that works for all of us. And not just to believe in it, but to act like it, to live like it. Another sunny day today. I lay in the grass and watch these little angels play, wondering why folks believe the lies, make us lose our faith and make life so hard. Lately I have been afraid. Been so unsure, I very nearly ran away. Where would I go when everywhere they know it's not who or why, but how much you love? I've loved so pure, so deep, it fills me till I lose myself. Shake, weep, I never want to lose that to this great big hurt. This world can be full of lies, full of pain. I believe that love will reign if we let it in this great big world, in this great big world. And I don't always feel this way. Seen rainy nights and times when I've been drenched for days. I've wondered why couldn't I stay dry when my sky is crying, nothing's quite right. Then I get the view through Layla's eyes. I know that she is pure, and somehow I'm not too surprised to see in this girl the beauty of the world. All I seek or feel is that perfect love, so pure, so I never want to lose that to this great big hurt. This world can be full of lies, full of pain. I believe that love will reign if we let it in this great big world, in this great big world. Am I going too far? Am I losing my mind? Is this just who we are? Will there be enough time to find us waking, no longer mistaking life for something less than what it is? A little chance to shine and sharing these amazing gifts with a bit of pain and sure a touch of rain. Still so beautiful, it fills me with love. So pure, so deep, it fills me till I lose myself. Shake, weep, I never want to lose that to this great big hurt. This world can be full of lies, full of pain. I know now that love will reign when we let it in this great big world, in this great big world. Yes, it is. Great big world.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you, Leah. I think I'm going to go right into our invocation now on the tails of that beautiful piece of music that Leah provided for us, and start our time together right. So join me if you will. I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever's comfortable for you. And know with me now that we are indeed connected, connected by love, connected by power, connected by source. And I know that it is the creative source of life that moves in, as, and through all things, that continues to move through our time together here today. I know that we are indeed connected by love and guided by that same power as we move through our time together this morning. I know that all the words that are spoken with wisdom, with grace. I know that the rest of this broadcast moves forward with ease and with power. And I'm grateful for the time to be together, grateful for all the volunteers that have come forth to bring us this opportunity to be together yet again on a Sunday morning. I give great thanks for this, and it is with a surrendered heart that I simply let this go and let it be, and so it is. So we are Centers for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz, and we're part of a global movement called Centers for Spiritual Living, and we share a vision, a mission, and a purpose with Centers for Spiritual Living, but then we have our own centering statement. So I want to share it with you right now. Our centering statement reads as follows. We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives in the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. So with that, I would like to bring to you once again, LEA and Friends, with a beautiful piece of music, and then I'll be back to share with you my thoughts for this Sunday morning as we gather together once again.
When I wake up in America, I see my neighbors there with every type of clothes and shoes, hats and skin and hair, every fine belief and custom, scores of songs from who knows where. When I wake up in in the harbor shines for us all. When I wake up, I see the kids playing happily swaying. Good to be staying in a place like this, with a face like this. When I wake up in America, I put away my fear, and I love my neighbor as myself, and I say I'm glad that you're here. We have found ourselves together in a land we dream could be. When we wake up in America, everybody will be free. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, please, America. The light in the harbor shines for us all. When I wake up, when you wake up, when we wake up in America.
Thank you, LEA and Friends. That was beautiful. If you want to see more of LEA's work, I hope you'll go to her website. She's actually all over the internet, but if you go to thisislea.com, you can see more of her work, and she'll be joining us via the internet next week. So let's just take a breath. And if you're just joining us, welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and we are here this week broadcasting to you our Sunday experience. And our theme this month is inclusiveness in action. And what I want to talk about today is God in all things, that place where we know that there is divinity in everything that we experience. And if you're like me, you might be getting a little tired of all this shift and change that's happening in our culture and in our world. You might be weary of COVID. You might be weary of folks not wearing masks, or maybe you're weary of folks who are wearing masks. Perhaps you've had your fill of the other party's rhetoric, the divisiveness in politics. You're tired of being in isolation. You're tired of being separate from each other. I think right now, as we step into this place and the evolution of our world, we are experiencing deep change. We've been asked also to press in and look at those places where we continue to separate ourselves. We continue to believe in this ideology of separation. And so when we talk about inclusiveness, we're really looking at inclusiveness in action. We're looking at how we want to be part of the solution of dissolving this thing called systemic racism. And I think it really is, we're being called to embrace our differences. If you're like me, perhaps once upon a time, you would say from a place of really well-meaning that you were colorblind and you didn't see color. While that is well-intentioned, what I've learned is that choosing not to see color is the same as choosing not to see someone, or saying to someone, I don't see you for who you are. I don't see you for all your uniqueness. So when we talk about inclusiveness, it's really about embracing differences and embracing the things that aren't like us, the places where we're uncomfortable even. Holmes talks about inclusiveness in this quote from the Beverly Hills Lectures. Unity and uniformity are not the same thing. No two blades of grass are alike. What does it mean spiritually? We have nothing to disprove and everything to prove that this individualization of the spirit in each of us, rooted in common soil, having the characteristics and potentialities of its common background, contains what the ancients called the microcosm. We have every reason to suppose that there is, back and within and around every individual, the divine representation of himself as the Son of God, forever expanding. So Holmes is talking about that there's divinity in everything. As you know, when we talk about the sons, or if I were to broaden that and say the sons and daughters of God, we're really talking about humanity, that we know that there's no one exceptional son or daughter of God, but that we're all part of God, that everything is God in form. And so our work is to truly celebrate it. And I think there are really subtle ways that we have begun to separate ourselves and be deep in this thing, which I'm going to just right now rename systemic separateness. So there's a lot of upheaval happening right now, and that upheaval is happening so that we can move into a new order of being. I've been reading Richard Rohr. For those of you who aren't familiar with Richard Rohr, he is a Franciscan priest who leads the Center for Action and Contemplation. And he recently talked about healthy growth happening in 3 stages, and it really resonated with me. He writes that growth is a process of order, disorder, and then reorder. Well, we all appreciate order. We appreciate when things seem to work, when things aren't so hard. But when it's time to grow and when it's time to change, we have to lean into the disorder phase. And I don't know about you, but I feel like we're really headed deep into that phase of disorder when I look around and what's going on in our culture and in our society. And I think that I'm being called, and I'm inviting you to be called, to press into those places that are uncomfortable, which means learning to embrace the disorder. To paraphrase Einstein, you can't solve problems with the same mind that created them. And certainly everything that we're experiencing out in the environment, in the culture, in the world, is a creation of our beliefs. We teach that everything is created twice, first in consciousness and then in form. And so everything that we're experiencing, everything that we've created has been created from old thought forms. And in order to move into shifting and changing and reordering things, we have to live with the disorder for a little while. We have to actually embrace it. And I think through COVID and the anti-racism and the divisive politics and all that comes along with it is really an invitation for us to learn to practice what I would call radical inclusiveness. We have an opportunity to learn how to be nimble with change and how to embrace what we begin to feel this discomfort and these differences, and learning how to embrace them, to meet them with the love in our hearts and the openness and curiosity of our minds on what Richard Rohr calls disorder. If we choose to, all that we can experience can help us to learn to be more accepting and more welcoming and more forgiving, and trusting that there's something else on the other side of this chaos, if you will. It's human nature for us to get used to and even attached to order and control and sameness. And I want to share a story with you that really illustrates that well. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as I tell this story. And here we go. So as the story goes, once upon a time there lived people who loved the light. As soon as the sun rose every morning, they were up to welcome it, singing songs of celebration for the light. And when the sun went down, each evening they sang other songs, sad songs, songs of missing of the light and the sun. They loved the light so very much. They did not love the darkness. Once darkness fell every night, they would hurry to bed, since they could only bear the darkness when they were asleep. Even then, total darkness was frightening to them, and so they always kept the fire burning in every room. The people's dearest wish was that the sun would not set in the evening, that the darkness would never fall. But every day the sun set, and they sang their sad songs, and they endured the fearful, sad, strange darkness until they could greet the sun again the next day. Now in this land were born two remarkable children. They were twins. One was a girl, and she seemed to shine from within. Whenever she entered a room, everything seemed to get a little brighter, and the people loved her very much. The other was a boy, and he seemed to bring darkness with him. Whenever he entered a room, everything seemed a little dimmer, and the people did not like him. They feared him, in fact, because he reminded them of the great darkness of the night. But although the people loved the girl and did not love the boy, the twins loved each other very much. And because the girl loved her brother so very much, the people mostly let him be, even though they were afraid of him. Now, as they grew, it became clear that these children were in fact magical children. The girl had the power to bring life back to anything that was harmed or lost. When she was a very small child, she could heal small cuts and bruises. When she grew a little older, she could heal broken bones and even larger hurts. And by the time she was a teenager, she could make crops grow faster and larger and fuller. She could bring plants and animals that had died back to life. People suspected she could even bring people back to life, but they were a little afraid to ask, and she did not offer. The boy, on the other hand, had the power to claim and quiet anything. When he was a very small child, he could help his family go to sleep more quickly, thus saving them from the fear of darkness. When he was a little older, he could calm animals when they were frightened and make them still. Sometimes he would go first to an animal or a person who was hurt and help them to be calm enough for his sister's healing magic to work. And by the time he was a teenager, he could calm storms and winds and rains. He could bring anything to stillness. The people's love for the light and the fear of the darkness only grew with time, perhaps more strongly with the twins always before them to remind them. And so one day they decided to ask the girl for a favor. They asked her to see if her magic could hold the sun in the sky and stop the night from coming. The girl was reluctant, but after many, many months of being asked, she finally decided to try, just to get the people to leave her alone. One day, just as the sun was at its highest point, She went out into the top of the highest hill in the land, and she threw her arms up into the sky, and she asked the sun to stop, to stay right there at the top of the sky forever. She wasn't immediately sure that anything had happened. The sun usually moves so slowly. But before very long, it became clear that something had happened. The sun had stopped in the sky. The people were overjoyed. There was a big celebration. They sang all their songs celebrating the sun. They loved the girl even more, at least at first. For the first week or so, everyone was happy and content. But soon they began to get tired. Although they had always slept with a fire to ward off the darkness, sleeping in the full light of the sun was another thing altogether. They tossed and turned and woke up constantly. Some of them remembered that the boy could help with sleep and asked for his aid, but his power of bringing sleep seemed to have disappeared along with the darkness. After about a month, the exhausted, frustrated people began to see that this constant sunlight was a problem. Though they still loved the light, they began to wish that the sun would once again move in the sky. Each person at first thought that they were the only one who thought this. And given the people's love of the light and the fear of darkness, everyone was afraid at first to say anything about this growing longing for nighttime. But slowly, softly, as they began to confide in each other, they discovered that everyone felt this way, and they finally decided something must be done. They went back to the girl and asked her to get the sun to move again. It was her magic that had stopped it, and they figured her magic could bring it to move again. So she went back up into the top of the sky, into the top of the highest hill, threw her arms up into the sky and asked the sun to move. Nothing happened. She tried again and a third time, but the sun stayed still. Sadly, she turned to the people and told them there was nothing she could do. There was a long moment of growing panic before the boy stepped forward. "Let me try," he said softly. Everyone thought about it for a moment and then decided it was a good idea. So he took his sister's place on the top of the highest hill, threw his arms up into the sky, and asked the sun to move. The sun began moving at once, rushing toward the western horizon. Within 10 minutes it had set, and within 15 it was full, dark, and night. The people were caught off guard. They had all come up to the hill to see if this girl's magic would work, but they had no fires lit. They hadn't needed them in weeks. They had nothing with them to light their way. They'd never been outside at night before, and they were terrified. At first, they tried rushing home to get away from the darkness, but they soon discovered that rushing when you can't see where you're going is a bad idea. They slowed down, but still peered at the ground, trying to get home as soon as they could. But then one of them said, "Look up." "Oh," she exclaimed. And everyone looked up, and then they all saw the stars for the first time. They had never been outside at night before and had no idea of the incredible beauty of a sky full of stars. They all stopped hurrying toward their homes, and stood and stared in wonder. And then they realized how very tired they were. And so slowly now, and with more reverence, they started home again. They all slept for a very long time. The people rested and were glad and appreciated the darkness for the first time in their lives. Eventually, the sun rose again. As it did, the people got out of their beds and sang their songs to celebrate the coming of the light. But at the end of the day, as the sun began to sink toward the horizon, they did not feel like singing their sad songs anymore. Instead, one of the musicians began singing a new song, a slow, quiet song of thanksgiving for the night. And soon the others joined in. It became their new sunset song. And the boy and the girl grew up to be a man and a woman, and both were now much beloved by the people. Looking at them, still the best of friends as well as siblings, the people remembered that light and darkness our best in balance.
Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark.
Thank you so much, Leah. We really appreciate your gifts and your talent and for being with us this morning. We have an affirmation that I want to share with you. So let me go ahead and share my screen yet again. Our affirmation for this morning. It'll be right there with you. Just a second. I am needing to share my screen in the proper order. Share and then play. And so our affirmation for this morning is I recognize the unique expression of the divine in everyone I meet. Let's take that in one more time. I recognize the unique expression of the divine in everyone I meet. So true, so true. And so I want to take a moment and really thank everyone who has been part of our broadcast this morning. I want to thank everyone who's been donating and financially supporting us. We're so grateful for your support, and we're so grateful for the level that you are supporting us. Honestly, I can't say enough about how heartening it is to see how our community is still very much connected and supporting each other. And so you can continue to send your gifts. You can either mail them to the center. We pick up the mail every day. You can use our website. We have a donate button there. You can text to give, which is just as simple and easy. And once you do it the first time, simply using the number 44-321 as the phone number. And then in the message, CSL give, and then it'll instruct you how to set it up. But once it's set up, it's super easy. Or you can use our app, givelify.com. I want to thank Susan Springfield for all the gifts that she's given us over the last 5 months. She's still very much a part of our community and is really just taking some time off. If you would like to thank Susan, please feel free to send her a note. You can send it via email. You can send it to the center. Either way, we would be thrilled to receive your gratitude for Susan and all the service that she's done to our our beloved community over the last 5 months. I want to thank our tech team who is running the broadcast right now. That's Stacy Byerly and Nancy Laskagian and Mohini Peters, Susan Pankratz on sound. All of you really make Sunday mornings happen, and so I'm really grateful for that. We have just a couple of announcements that I want to share with you. The first announcement is that I continue to do the brown bag talk on Thursdays. That's Thursdays at 1 o'clock. So you can join us on Zoom, 666-000-6060, passcode 6060. And that's a time for us to come together. We have some wonderful, deep conversations. There's some prayer support at the end. I'll fill you in on any news or questions you might have about the center and what's going on right now. All of that is available every Thursday with me, Monday through Saturday. At that same telephone number, you can find a group that comes together, Project to Connect, which is led by Kaylee Dugan. And she does a wonderful job of facilitating, sharing, and support. So that number, as 6 days a week, you can find our center on Zoom and connect with fellow members. And speaking of connecting with fellow members, we sent out a survey on Friday, and we'll continue to send links to that survey in our e-news. And we really want to hear from you. We miss being together. And so we're looking at how to live with this thing called COVID-19 and how we can create small group gatherings. Now, those groups, depending upon the level of interest, will be in person or on Zoom. And so we've got a great quick little survey. If you'll take the time to answer the questions in the survey, we'll know how we can support you best and how we can begin to come together again in safe ways and safe places. So if you'll please take the time to do that survey and just tell us what you want. We want to serve you. We want to be here for you. We miss you, as I know you miss us. So help us help you. Answer the survey, and we'll begin to put together some of these small group gatherings where we can be together in person. They will be likely outdoors, and they will be with personal distancing so that they will be safe. On Zoom, they can be around a lot of different topics. So thanks again for your support and for letting us know how we can support you. And speaking of support, as you heard at our annual meeting, we are raising the roof. It's time to replace our roof, and I can't think of a better time than when we're sheltering in place and we can't use the sanctuary. And so that work is going to begin in a short period of time, 6 or 7 weeks from now. And so we're just trying to raise the balance of the funds. And so we're hoping that you can help us with that by buying a shingle. You can buy a shingle at a number of different levels. Any support you choose to give, we're so grateful for. We know that we'll do this together, and we will raise the roof and finally replace the roof that has needed to be done for quite some time. Thank you again for your support. I hope you'll join me for the talk after the talk on Zoom today. We'll go from 11:30 to 12. And we'll just talk about what came up for you during the talk. It's a great opportunity to connect yet again. Since we can't meet in the sanctuary, since we can't spend time together, this is a way for us to share and to be with one another. So I hope you'll join me. That number is 831-000-1818, and the passcode is 1818. And that starts at 11:30 after the broadcast. I think those are all the announcements we have for you. I think we talked about all these things. You can go to our website at www.cslsantacruz.org for any of this information. It's all there for you. It's also in the e-news. If there's another way you need us to connect with you, please feel free to reach out. We miss you, and I look forward to being together again next week. Next week, we have Elijah Christopher who will be doing our talk. So I hope you'll join us for Elijah. He always has a powerful share. Thanks again, and have a great day. Until next time, goodbye.